Hidden beneath 2,000 years of power, faith, and influence lies a world the public was never meant to see. Vaults that no outsider can enter, documents sealed for centuries, stories erased or rewritten, and secrets so shocking they could reshape history. What lies inside the Vatican Secret Archives, and why are some sections completely off-limits? Why do scholars claim the Vatican might hold lost books of the Bible? Is the Vatican hiding proof of ancient prophecies, paranormal events, or even extraterrestrial encounters? Tonight, we uncover claims, controversies, and mysteries the world still debates. For centuries, the name alone sparked intrigue: the Vatican Secret Archives. In 2019, Pope Francis renamed it the Vatican Apostolic Archive to shake off conspiracy theories, but the aura of mystery remains. The word secretum in Latin doesn't mean hidden in the sinister sense. It means private or separate, belonging exclusively to the Pope. Yet despite this clarification, parts of the archive remain classified in the modern sense of the word. Everything dated after 1958 stays locked away, along with private records of church figures after 1922. What's confirmed to be inside? Stretching across 85 kilometers, 53 miles, of shelving, the archive holds papal letters dating back to Pope Innocent III in 1198, correspondence with Michelangelo complaining about unpaid work on the Sistine Chapel, the original trial documents of Galileo's heresy case, and King Henry VIII's request for a marriage annulment that sparked the birth of the Anglican Church. The 1530 letter from British nobles urging Pope Clement VII to grant Henry VIII an annulment survived Napoleon's 1810 raid on the Vatican only because the chief archivist rolled it up and hid it inside a secret drawer in a chair. There are also records that reveal the Vatican's financial desperation. Encrypted telegrams from 1922 show that after Pope Benedict XIV died, the Vatican had no money to fund the conclave. The Vatican Secretary of State urgently wired the ambassador in Washington, asking him to send what you have in the safe so the papal election could proceed. Only 60 scholars per day are allowed inside. They can request just 5 documents at a time, and they're forbidden from using pens, cameras, or anything except pencils and laptops. Materials from Pope Pius XII's tenure, 1939 to 1958, were sealed until March 2, 2020. An entire section relating to personal affairs of cardinals from 1922 onward cannot be accessed. Why the secrecy? Vatican officials claim it's about preservation, historical sensitivity, and the need to protect diplomatic correspondence. But critics argue the Vatican is hiding uncomfortable truths, evidence of complicity during World War II, financial scandals, or dealings with authoritarian regimes. Scholars who've accessed the archive say it's not filled with occult secrets or alien documents. It's bureaucracy, papal letters, state papers, account books, and diplomatic records. But the fact that so much remains off-limits fuels endless speculation. For centuries, rumors have persisted. Does the Vatican hold lost books of the Bible, texts removed from Scripture, hidden Gospels, forbidden knowledge? The Apocrypha, books like Judith, Tobit, Wisdom of Solomon, and the Maccabees, were part of the Septuagint, the Greek translation of Hebrew scriptures, but were excluded from the Protestant Bible. These texts were written later, often in Greek rather than Hebrew, and early church leaders debated their divine inspiration. Neither Jesus nor the apostles quoted from the Apocrypha in the New Testament, which raised questions about their authority. By the time of the Reformation, Protestant scholars excluded them, arguing they lacked apostolic approval and contained doctrines inconsistent with the rest of Scripture. In 1945, an Egyptian farmer discovered 52 ancient texts buried in a jar near the town of Nag Hammadi. Among them were the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Philip, the Gospel of Truth, and the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. These Gnostic Gospels present a radically different version of early Christianity. The Gospel of Thomas contains 114 sayings attributed to Jesus, including cryptic statements like, "If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you." The Gospel of Philip portrays Jesus as having a close relationship with Mary Magdalene, stating that Jesus used to kiss her often on the mouth. The Gospel of Mary depicts her as a visionary leader, causing conflict with Peter and the other apostles. But why were they excluded? Early church councils, particularly the Council of Carthage in 397 AD, determined which texts were canonical based on criteria including apostolic authorship, orthodoxy, and widespread acceptance among early Christian communities. The Gnostic Gospels contradicted established teachings, promoted secret knowledge over faith, and often portrayed the material world as evil, concepts incompatible with mainstream Christianity. The Catholic Church canonized the books we know today at the Council of Trent in 1546, which included the deuterocanonical books, the Catholic version of the Apocrypha, but firmly rejected Gnostic and other apocryphal texts. What does the Vatican actually hold? The Vatican Library and Archives contain ancient manuscripts, biblical codices, and illuminated texts dating back over a millennium. The famous Codex Vaticanus, the oldest Greek Bible manuscript, was among the treasures Napoleon seized and later returned. These aren't hidden, they're preserved because of their fragility and irreplaceable historical value. As for secret gospels locked away, no credible evidence supports this. The Gnostic texts were found in Egypt, not Vatican vaults. What the Vatican does hold are rare biblical manuscripts, theological treatises, and correspondence from church fathers, valuable to scholars, but not the stuff of conspiracy thrillers. Throughout history, prophetic visions have shaped Catholic devotion and fueled controversy. The third secret of Fatima. In 1917, 3 shepherd children in Fatima, Portugal, reported visions of the Virgin Mary, who revealed 3 secrets. The first 2 concerned hell, World War I and II, and the rise of communism. But the third secret remained sealed for decades, triggering speculation about apocalyptic warnings, nuclear war, or apostasy within the Church. In 2000, the Vatican finally released the third secret, a vision of a bishop dressed in white, interpreted as the Pope, being shot by soldiers. Pope John Paul II believed it referred to the 1981 assassination attempt against him, which occurred on May 13, the exact anniversary of the first Fatima apparition. There are many controversy and conspiracy theories. Many believers rejected the Vatican's explanation. Internal documents leaked in the 2020s revealed that the majority of bishops surveyed actually had favorable views of traditional liturgy, and warned that suppressing it would cause more harm than good, contradicting the Vatican's official stance. Critics claim the Vatican is concealing a more dire warning, that the secret predicted apostasy, corruption, and a crisis of faith at the highest levels of the Church. Some point to the ongoing clergy abuse scandals and financial corruption as evidence the prophecy is unfolding. Sister Lucia, the last surviving visionary, confirmed multiple times that the 2000 release was the complete third secret and that she never wrote another version. Yet conspiracy theories persist, with some believing the Vatican redacted portions to avoid panic. Another famous prophecy is the prophecy of the popes, attributed to 12th century Irish Saint Malachy. According to legend, Malachy experienced a vision during a 1139 visit to Rome, foreseeing every pope until the end of time. The prophecy consists of 112 short Latin phrases describing each pope. The final entry, Peter the Roman, allegedly predicts the last pope will preside during Great Tribulation, culminating in the destruction of Rome and the end of the papacy. Many scholars believe the prophecy is a 16th century forgery. The descriptions are remarkably accurate up until 1590, the year the document was discovered, then become vague and interpretive. Still, believers see patterns and claim recent popes fit the descriptions, intensifying speculation with each papal transition. Far from being anti-science, the Vatican operates one of the oldest astronomical research institutions in the world. The Vatican Observatory, founded in 1891 by Pope Leo III. The Vatican Observatory was created to promote dialogue between faith and science and dispel the myth that the Church was hostile to scientific inquiry after the Galileo affair. The observatory initially operated from the papal summer residence at Castel Gandolfo, but relocated to Arizona in 1981 due to light pollution. Today, the Vatican Advanced Technology Telescope, VAT, sits atop Mount Graham in southeastern Arizona, one of the clearest, darkest skies in North America. The 1.83-meter telescope achieved first light in 1993 and has contributed to cutting-edge research on exoplanets, black holes, asteroids, and the expansion of the universe. One of the Vatican's most intriguing scientific pursuits is the search for extraterrestrial life. In 2014, the Vatican co-hosted a major conference titled The Search for Life Beyond the Solar System. Exoplanets, biosignatures and instruments, bringing together nearly 200 scientists. Brother Guy Consolmagno, the current director of the Vatican Observatory and nicknamed the Pope's astronomer, has stated, "Neither I nor anyone I know has any evidence that extraterrestrials exist." However, he's also said the discovery of alien life would not contradict Catholic theology. Father José Funes, a previous director, explained, "Just as there is a multiplicity of creatures on Earth, there can be other beings, even intelligent, created by God." The Vatican's position is clear. Theology won't answer the question of alien life. Science will. The Vatican Observatory regularly hosts world-class physicists to discuss cosmology, relativity, and quantum theory. In 2024, it convened experts, including 2 Nobel Prize winners, to reconcile these often conflicting scientific frameworks. The Church honors Monsignor Georges Lemaitre, a Belgian priest who first theorized the Big Bang in 1927, proposing that the universe began from a primeval atom. His groundbreaking work predated Edwin Hubble, yet he remains less famous, a reminder that faith and science need not be enemies. Lemaitre himself warned Pope Pius XII not to conflate the Big Bang with divine creation, insisting that God's creative act is continuous, not a one-time event. 13.8 billion years ago. Controversy. The Lucifer telescope. One persistent conspiracy theory claims the Vatican operates a telescope called Lucifer to search for aliens or demonic entities. The truth? Lucifer was an acronym for a spectrograph instrument, large binocular telescope near infrared utility with camera and integral field unit for extragalactic research, attached to the large binocular telescope, not the VAT. It was later renamed LUI to avoid confusion. The Vatican has no telescope named Lucifer. The conspiracy was born from misunderstanding and sensationalism. Beneath St. Peter's Basilica lies a hidden world, ancient burial grounds, secret passageways, and forgotten chambers. The Vatican Necropolis. The Vatican Necropolis is a vast underground cemetery dating from the 1st to 4th centuries AD, lying 5 to 12 meters below the basilica. It was originally an open-air pagan burial ground along the Via Cornelia outside the ancient city walls, where Roman law forbade burials. According to tradition, after his martyrdom in Nero's circus around 64 AD, the Apostle Peter was buried here. When Emperor Constantine built the original St. Peter's Basilica in the 4th century, he preserved Peter's tomb, but buried the rest of the necropolis under rubble and construction debris. Discovery and excavations. The necropolis remained forgotten for over 1,600 years. In 1939, workers renovating the Vatican grottos broke through a wall and discovered the ancient burial site. Pope Pius XII ordered systematic excavations from 1940 to 1949. Archaeologists uncovered over 22 mausoleums filled with sarcophagi, frescoes, inscriptions, and approximately 1,000 burials. The tombs belonged to wealthy Roman families, slaves, artisans, and freedmen. Most astonishing was the discovery of what's believed to be St. Peter's tomb, a humble grave marked by an ancient monument called the Trophy of Gaius, dating to around 160 AD. Inscribed on a nearby wall were the words Peter, Enai, interpreted as Peter is inside. In 1968, Pope Paul VI announced that following scientific study, the relics of St. Peter had been convincingly identified. The Scavi Tour today, the Vatican offers an exclusive underground tour called the Scavi, limited to just 250 people per day. Groups of 12 visitors descend through narrow passageways lined with ancient tombs, culminating in a view of St. Peter's bones beneath the main altar of the basilica. A new section, the Vatican Necropolis at the Via Triumphalis, opened in 2024, revealing over 1,000 square meters of remarkably intact tombs from ordinary Romans. Unlike the tombs beneath St. Peter's, this necropolis contains actual skeletons still in place after 2,000 years. Secret tunnels and escape routes. The Vatican also has secret passageways used by popes throughout history. The most famous is the Passetto di Borgo, an 800-meter fortified corridor connecting the Vatican to Castel Sant'Angelo. Built in the 13th century, the Passetto served as an escape route during sieges and invasions. Pope Alexander VI fled through it in 1494 when French forces invaded Rome. Pope Clement VII used it during the sack of Rome in 1527. The passage remained closed to the public for centuries but reopened in 2025 for the Jubilee. Are there other undiscovered tunnels? Possibly. The Vatican sits atop centuries of Roman ruins, catacombs, and forgotten chambers. Archaeologists believe much remains buried beneath Vatican City, waiting to be revealed. The Vatican's financial operations have been shrouded in scandal, secrecy, and controversy for decades. The Institute for the Works of Religion, IOR, commonly known as the Vatican Bank, was founded in 1942 to manage funds for clergy and church organizations worldwide. But for years, it operated as what some called the world's best offshore bank. Because the Vatican is a sovereign state, it could withhold transaction information from regulators, making it an ideal haven for money laundering. Italian authorities seized €23 million from the Vatican Bank in 2010 for alleged anti-money laundering violations. The Banco Ambrosiano scandal. One of the most notorious cases involved Roberto Calvi, chairman of Italy's Banco Ambrosiano and dubbed God's banker for his close ties to the Vatican. The IOR was the largest shareholder in Banco Ambrosiano. Calvi set up a network of illegal offshore accounts to move Vatican funds, profiting enormously while the IOR took a cut. When the scheme collapsed in 1982, Calvi was found hanging under London's Blackfriars Bridge, officially ruled a suicide, though many suspect murder. Archbishop Paul Marcinkus, head of the IOR, was accused of being an accessory to fraudulent bankruptcy but fled to Vatican City, where Italian authorities couldn't arrest him. Recent scandals. In 2013, Monsignor Nunzio Scarano, a senior Vatican accountant, was arrested for plotting to smuggle €20 million in untaxed cash into Italy. He was known as Monsignor 500 for carrying only €500 notes. In 2012, JP Morgan forced the IOR to close its account after discovering the Vatican had moved $1.5 billion through it in just 18 months. The Council of Europe's Anti-Money Laundering Committee found 105 suspicious transactions in 2013 alone. In 2014, Vatican officials discovered hundreds of millions of euros hidden in various accounts within different departments, money that never appeared on balance sheets. Cardinal George Pell, the Vatican's economy minister, said unscrupulous figures had exploited the Vatican's financial naivety for decades. Reforms under Pope Francis. Pope Francis launched sweeping financial reforms, replacing the IOR's senior management, closing thousands of suspicious accounts, and centralizing Vatican funds to prevent corruption. By 2024, the Vatican had improved its standing with European financial regulators, winning praise for technical compliance with anti-money laundering standards. A Vatican court convicted Cardinal Angelo Becciu for embezzlement and fraud related to a luxury London property deal, the first time a cardinal faced criminal prosecution for financial crimes. Despite progress, the Vatican's finances remain complex and opaque. Its diplomatic status and religious mission create unique challenges in balancing transparency with sovereignty. Diplomatic influence on governments. Beyond finances, the Vatican wields enormous political power. The Holy See maintains diplomatic relations with 183 countries, more than most nations. Papal nuncios, ambassadors, often serve as deans of the diplomatic corps, giving them privileged access to world leaders. The Vatican played a crucial role in ending the Cold War, with Pope John Paul II supporting Poland's solidarity movement and undermining Soviet authority. Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev called the Pope the first citizen of global civil society. In 2014, Pope Francis secretly mediated between the United States and Cuba, leading to the resumption of diplomatic relations after a 50-year break. The Vatican has also mediated territorial disputes, peace processes, and interfaith dialogues. As a permanent observer at the United Nations, the Holy See participates in debates on human rights, climate change, poverty, and nuclear disarmament, wielding moral authority no other institution can match. The Vatican's art and relic collections are among the largest and most mysterious in the world. The Vatican museums hold over 70,000 works of art, but only about 20,000 are on display to the public. That means more than 70% remain hidden in climate-controlled vaults known as the Depositi Vaticani. These include Roman sculptures from the 1st century BC, medieval icons from the 9th century AD, Renaissance masterpieces, and artifacts from missionary expeditions across the globe. Many pieces are rotated for restoration, while others are kept hidden due to fragility, theological sensitivity, or sheer abundance. The Vatican also holds pagan art, statues of Roman gods, Bacchus, Venus, and mythological scenes. These remain in restricted rooms, preserved but not emphasized, to maintain the spiritual focus of public exhibitions. The Vatican Apostolic Archive contains over 50 miles of shelving, with illuminated manuscripts, hand-copied Bibles from the 13th century, and papal bulls decorated with gold leaf. These documents are artistically magnificent, but too fragile for display. Letters from Michelangelo, Bernini, and other Renaissance masters detail commissions, theological disputes, and artistic concerns. Records of ecclesiastical trials, including diagrams of religious concepts, also exist but remain sealed. The Vatican and churches across Rome house some of Christianity's most sacred relics. The Basilica of San Giovanni in Laterano holds the heads of St. Peter and St. Paul, fragments of the table from the Last Supper, and the holy umbilical cord. Santa Croce in Jerusalem contains 2 thorns from Jesus' crown of thorns, the titulus crucis, the inscription tablet from the cross, a rusted nail, and pieces of the true cross. The Basilica of Santa Maria Maggiore preserves wooden pieces claimed to be remnants of the Holy Crib where Jesus was born. St. Peter's Basilica holds a copy of the Veil of Veronica. Hundreds of churches claim to possess fragments of the true cross, though the authenticity of most is disputed. The Shroud of Turin, believed by some to be Jesus' burial cloth, was radiocarbon dated to the medieval period, 1260 to 1390 AD, casting doubt on its origins. But why keep art hidden? The Vatican's approach is born of practical and theological considerations. The Church views its collection as a sacred trust, heritage to be guarded, not exploited. Fragile works require strict climate control. Controversial or pagan pieces might distract from the Church's spiritual mission. The Vatican preserves its art with an eye toward eternity, thinking in centuries rather than seasons. Vatican officials cite preservation, security, and historical sensitivity as the primary reasons for secrecy. Ancient documents and artifacts are irreplaceable. Limited access prevents theft, damage, and deterioration. Diplomatic correspondence must remain confidential to protect relationships with nations and religious communities. Classified materials after 1958 involve living individuals and contemporary politics. The Vatican also argues that secret is a mistranslation. Secretum means private, not hidden. The 2019 name change to the Vatican Apostolic Archive was meant to dispel conspiracy theories. Why secrecy fuels curiosity? Yet secrecy breeds speculation. The Vatican's long history of scandals, financial corruption, cover-ups, power struggles, erodes trust. When documents are leaked, they often reveal uncomfortable truths, as with the 2012 Vatileaks scandal. The Church's moral authority depends on transparency. When it withholds information, critics accuse it of hiding evidence of wrongdoing, whether related to World War II, clergy abuse, or authoritarian alliances. As long as locked doors remain, the world will keep searching for answers. In the end, the Vatican remains one of the most guarded places on earth. A place of miracles to some, mystery to others, and silence to all. We've uncovered truths hidden in 53 miles of archives, prophecies that sparked controversy, underground cities of the dead, financial scandals that rocked the Church, and scientific pursuits that challenge the boundaries between faith and reason. The Vatican holds relics some believe touched divinity. It wields diplomatic power that shapes nations. It guards art and knowledge spanning 2 millennia, and yes, it keeps secrets. But as long as locked doors remain, the world will keep searching for answers. What do you think the Vatican is really hiding? Comment below and subscribe for more detailed and interesting videos. See you in the next one.